Good morning, y'all. So I'm in a new location today. It's my last day here in Denver, and we're a week after the mastermind. So for all of my money multiplier family and gang who came out and hung out with us for the weekend, that was a lot of fun. So I appreciate y'all for showing up. As I always say, showing up is 50% of the work. So thanks for coming and hanging out with the gang there. And before we get into my topic of what I want to talk about today, I want to share with y'all this really fun music video that Jonah and Jeremiah do. They go by the Banking Bros, put together specifically for the mastermind. So, as we get in here into the later end of the week, Thursday morning, good morning, everybody. Join me with your coffee or your water, whatever you prefer as your morning beverage. And I want to show you this music video. So, here, 2 seconds. Let's add it to the stage. Remove my So, literally, the first time I saw that before we even got started, the day one, it was so good. I was so giddy. I was like, "Oh my goodness, Jonah and JD, you guys freaking nailed this thing." So hopefully you found that a little fun. Great beat, great lyrics. So we actually were playing it day one for all my VIP people. We went out on a little excursion. We went to Top Golf and we were hanging out and jamming in the party bus, and that was one of the jams that we were playing with. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go back home. I'm excited to go see my kitty cats here later tonight, and it was very powerful, right? I mean, just getting in the room with like-minded people who are walking on the same journey that you're going down as well. It's just a very, very powerful community. And I could really feel the love. I really I felt it, when you really lead with a good heart and good intentions, you really bring the right people in your tribe together. So we had a lot of fun. So next year, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I'll put on another one next year. But definitely, I'll be doing some live speaking, putting on some close, intimate masterminds next year. And really, in 2026, I want to go live in my van for a little bit. I want to go travel the country. I want to go to different parks around the country and just see the beautiful country that we live in. And then also, I've been saying this a lot. I really want to take my van up to Alaska. So go from like Florida, go stay at the lake house for a little bit, then go up to the Idaho property, and then go and explore Alaska. Never been before. So I heard it's beautiful, great for van life, and just a lot of the treasures that I'll see when I'm on the road. But here's a quote that Thomas Jefferson said. So Thomas Jefferson in 1809, he says, if the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. The issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs to. And Thomas Jefferson said that over the debate of the recharter of the bank bill. And like I mentioned, that was in 1809. So, that's the problem, right? The problem is going to be the problem. And this is something just in my lifetime of what I'm really trying to help, just my generation, the Gen Z, the millennials, and then now there's the next generation. What do we call them? Like Alpha. I think it's the generation Alpha or something. What can I do being in my ripe years of my 20s to help our economy, help the people, really take back the control of our money. And essentially, it starts by taking back the control of the banking function in our life. So, that there's some conversations and some things that I would really like to do just in my own lifetime to make some impact. Hey, how can we tie our currency back to gold? How can we abolish the Federal Reserve System and then abolish the banks? How can we really do that? So that's some things that I've really been truly pondering on and thinking about and having some conversations with people. But really, that's going to be the problem. And in my opinion, the premium, my policy is the solution here. More premium that I'm putting into my policies equals less dependence on others and really true financial control back to myself and my own family. So, we can take it back to just our personal system, right? So the good news is that, okay, I get it. The problem's going to be the problem. I understand that, it is what it is right now, but what can I do to start taking back that control? And in my opinion, that is becoming my own banker. But in order for us to even become our own bankers, in Denver, we opened up with the first segment that I had was Marty Smith from Security Mutual Life Insurance Company. He came out and I had him do his presentation on why whole life. Because if you ever get the pleasure to meet Marty Smith, I mean, he was right alongside Nelson, met Nelson about 50 years ago. And he's been practicing infinite banking since he was like in his 30s, 40s. Now I think he's 72 now, I think is what Marty said from stage. He's in his 70s. And so he's been doing this for a long, long time. And especially too, just him even being a regional vice president at the home office and him truly understanding this stuff. That's why it's just really great to have the good insurance companies who do understand why we're designing the policies this way, why we want to start implementing this and using our cash values. So we opened up with why, and then I was up next where I came into talking about the how and the what. And the how is the mindset, because we have to have the correct mindset to even do this. If you don't correct or rethink your thinking, no matter what you do, you're going to just you're never going to understand truly in depth the power of what you have with your policies and truly why you're even implementing this too. So the how I got into, the mindset, and then I also got deeper into the what. And the what I titled it the mechanics. So mindset and mechanics of becoming your own banker. And with the mechanics, I got into, the whole quote, how people say, well, I want as much cash value as I possibly can, but I want as least or as little death benefit as I possibly can have. Because essentially they're looking at the death benefit like it's a cost. But I really broke it down for the community to understand that in order to even have cash value, you've got to have a death benefit. So that statement is kind of contradictory when you're talking about this whole thing. But I'm not going to discuss that today. What I really want to discuss is the mindset and the how, because there's human behaviors that we need to overcome in order for us to do this. Okay. And I'm going to give you 5 human behaviors today. So write these down. They are also in Becoming Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash. Okay. So you can go and explore deeper in those chapters of the human behaviors. But today I'm going to be giving you 5 human behaviors of what we must do to really properly implement becoming our own bankers. Let me get my sip of coffee and say good morning to my feet people. Good morning, Mr. Dexter. You're here every Thursday morning. Good to see you again. And Mr. Mike as well. Good morning. Good morning. Coming from Massachusetts. Dexter's coming from California. So good morning, early bird. I know you're always up early though. So there's 5 human behaviors that we must overcome. Now, I get it too, okay? I get it that this is it's so much more easier for me because I was such a young girl growing up with this. I mean, when dad first learned about infinite banking, I mean, I was 8 years old when he started talking to us kids about it. And my ask, if you're a parent or a grandparent and you have young children, start talking to them about money and banking at a young age, because these habits, it's very natural, very easy for me. It's very easy for me to save 10%. It's very easy for me to pay myself first because that was just the norm in my household, right? So when you really ingrain these habits at such a young age, your kids are going to take this all the way through their lifetime. But there are 5 human behaviors that we need to overcome. And the first one is Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states once was a luxury is now a necessity. So, have you ever noticed that when you start to produce more or make more money, your income starts to rise? Then what else starts to rise? Your expenses. So, you need to make sure that you're keeping in check that, hey, when my income rises, that doesn't necessarily mean that my expenses need to rise with it too. And this is kind of where I agree with Dave Ramsey here, right? Dave Ramsey always teaches us that you want to live within your means. And so this is where we get along, because yes, you need to live within your means. Don't be spending more than what you make. And it goes back to once was a luxury is now a necessity, right? I mean, if you ever think about like in your car, okay, you have the automatic roll down windows. Could you ever see yourself going back to the cranking down, roll down windows? Probably not, because once was a luxury is now a necessity. I mean, even for myself, when I'm traveling long distances, like when I went to Thailand, oh my gosh, being in those first class cabins, being able to lay down. Now I'm thinking about going to Thailand again coming up here next March of 2026, because my best girlfriend, she's going to go back out to Asia and she's going to get her dive masters. So then she can teach other people how to get their dive certification. And when she's over there, I'm thinking about going and seeing her again this coming year. And I was thinking about it literally last night when we were talking about it. I'm like, okay, once was a luxury is now a necessity. Do I spend the money and do I do the first first class stuff again on that 18-hour flight, or do I stay a little conservative and I can spend more money when I'm in Thailand? So you always got to check yourself. And again, it's you against you, right? As I always say, nobody's going to care more about your financial life than what you do. And so it really is a battle between you and you, and it's all what's between these two ears right here. So Parkinson's law once was a luxury is now a necessity, but it's also a law that talks about, time, or I should say it this way: work expands to meet the time envelope allowed. And if you overcome this, you will win by default. So if you think about it like this, if you ever given like your team members a task to do, and let's say you have a deadline for them to do that task, you want it turned into you by January 1st, 9 a.m., you'll notice that 90% of your people is going to turn in that task like on December 31st, 11:59 p.m. That's when you'll see it show up within your email inbox, because they'll take that work expands to meet the time envelope allowed. And I'm telling you, if you beat that and you get your stuff done, you're going to just win by default, beating your peers 90% of the time. So that's Parkinson's law. Number two is Willie Sutton's law. And Willie Sutton, he was actually a notorious bank robber back in the 50s. He was born in 1901, passed in 1980. And when he was caught, people asked him, they said, Willie, so why did you go and steal the money from the banks? And you know what his response was? He says, well, that's just where they keep the money at. So Willie Sutton, I'm gonna sneeze here. Hold on. Okay, false alarm. So Willie Sutton law teaches us that wherever wealth is accumulated, someone will go and try and steal it. Here's my question: who do you think is the biggest thief in the world? My opinion, it's the IRS. The IRS is the biggest thief in the world. And if you think about it, it's almost like a parasite host relationship, because without us, the American tax-paying people, their host, the US government, that's the parasite. They cannot survive without us. And you'll notice that when taxation comes to the point where the government officials start to sense rebellion and uproar in the streets, they resort to these other plans that are exceptions to the rules. That's when they started to come out with the pensions, the 401ks, the IRAs, the HSA plans, right? And if you kind of think about it, it's literally like how Nelson says in its book, it's essentially like hiring the fox to tend to or to guard the chicken coop, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what government plan that they're giving us, we're still in control of them. Because let's just talk about it: your 401k, for instance, how long do you have to keep that money in there just until you don't have to pay the 10% penalty? It's age 59 and a half. And even after that, when you do start to take the distributions out of that 401k, you still got to pay the tax on that money. So you're not in control. You're still in the binds of the government in those plans that they're offering to us. So again, that's why I don't have any 401ks, IRAs, HSAs, because personally, I don't see the control in it. I want to have total control over my money. I want to control that it's not going to go down based on external factors that I can't control or dictate, aka the market. And I want to be able to access that money whenever I want for whatever I want. And that's why I say all the time, your cash value in your policy, it's literally whatever you want to use the money for, you can use it for that. Go buy a pack of chewing gum down at the convenience store with your policy money if you really wanted to. Now, obviously, I don't tell the insurance company that we're doing that, but but they don't care because right when I call into the insurance company and I want to take out a policy loan, they never ask me what I'm using the money for, when I'm going to pay it back, or how I'm going to pay it back. So you just need to protect yourself because, yeah, whenever wealth is accumulated, someone's going to come and try and steal it. So you need to protect that money. Or my dad says it in another form or fashion, like when we were younger, and he says, the higher up your butt is on the flagpole, he uses another term, but the higher up your butt is on the flagpole, the bigger the target it becomes. So again, you just need to protect your wealth and protect that accumulation of cash that you do have. And this is where it kind of gets into the conversations of the trust and the estate planning, wills and testaments, because again, if you don't properly set that stuff up, I mean, you're going to see that wealth diminish because you just didn't plan for it. Here's another BK quote he always says too. He says, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And I think about that one a lot too. He's always on my butt about that. Anytime like we're trying to go to live events and let's say like I forget a clipboard or something, Dad's like, well, did you go through your checklist? Did you plan for this? Because a plan to fail is a failure. Wait, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. So I'll love though. I'll love. So that's Willie Sutton's law. Now here's law number 3, the golden rule. The one who has the gold makes the rules. So if I have the gold, I'm the one who gets to make the rules. I do this a lot within my private lending, right? I get a lot of people who will come across my emails and wants me to lend on their deal. But I have set rules in place that if you don't fit my criteria, then I'm not going to lend to you, okay? Because I'm the one who has the gold. I get to make the rules and I get to make that ultimate decision if yes, we're going to lend and we're going to work together, or no, we're not at all, because the one who has the gold makes the rules. So you just need to be in control. And when you do have the gold, that is the ultimate control of what you have. And what you're doing in the financial world is being compared to what everybody else is doing. So just stay in tuned with that, because if I can reclaim back the interest to myself and my own banking system instead of losing the interest or paying out the interest to somebody else, I'm going to win just by default, because what I'm doing in the financial world is being compared to what everybody else is doing. And what the masses are doing is they are giving up the interest they could have earned on their money by paying cash for things, or they're paying out the interest to somebody else, aka bank financing it, where I don't lose out on the interest. I'm in control of the transaction, and it truly is ultimate freedom when you're the one who has the gold, because again, you are the one who gets to make the rules. So that's the golden rule. Here's number 4. This is probably my favorite law and rule, but it's the arrival syndrome. And we talk about the arrival syndrome a lot, even just last week's episode when I was reviewing that Reddit post that somebody posted about 2 years ago. I kept using the term that this man has arrived in knowledge. And here's what the arrival syndrome is. When you think you have arrived at knowledge and know everything there is to know, you might as well rot and be dead. Okay, because essentially what you're saying to yourself is, oh, I know everything and there's nothing else that I can learn for myself. And so, thus, I don't need to hear what you're saying or what you're preaching to me right now. And even for myself, like try to really fact check myself about that. Because even people like folks will come up to me and they'll say, well, Hannah, why don't you open up your own Roth IRA account? Do you know how much money that you could be growing tax free in that type of account? And to me, I hear them, right? I take in that information and I do my own due diligence. But to me, nobody has ever shown me what this Roth IRA can do that my policies can't do either. I've done my own exploration with this specific topic just in my own life, and that's why I say, hey, thank you for the information, but that's just not for me. And that's what I encourage y'all to do, is just listen, absorb, hear what people are saying, but you don't got to take action with the information that they're providing. You just want to see and listen and hear what they're doing, right? So that's my ask, is don't hit arrival syndrome. Just be open to what people are saying, and then whatever's applicable to you, apply it to your own life. But if it's not, that's okay to not implement it in your life, you know? So never hit the arrival syndrome, and just keep learning, keep being a sponge, and keep being a student of any aspect, any arena of your life, because you may come up to something and you say, wow, I've never heard about that before. That sounds enticing. It sounds intriguing. And I think I'm going to do more research and figure out if this is for me or not. Because here's another thing I say all the time too, but there's no one silver bullet out there, right? I mean, that's why I got into the second half of my presentation at Denver, where I was talking about the mechanics behind becoming your own banker, because there's some people who are preaching infinite banking that, number one, they're not even a part of the Nelson Nash Institute. They're not even a certified infinite banking practitioner. So that's my ask. If you are working with somebody, please make sure they are affiliated with the NNI and are a certified infinite banking practitioner. And how you can go and find that, go to infinitebanking.org, and there's a practitioner finder there on the website, and you can look up their first name, last name, even the state of where you live at, and you can see different people in your state or who's even licensed in your state. But I got off on that tangent. Now I kind of forgot what I was going to say about that. Becoming an yes, this is where I was going with it. Because there's people out there who are preaching infinite banking, which is great. I mean, we need more people to preach and spread this message. I mean, there's only one of me, and there's 330 million people living in the United States. So we need more people out there preaching it. But there's some people who preach it, and then they're just like, hey, yeah, the only one way to do this is in a 1090 policy design. And that's not the truth. There's different ways of how you can design a policy, and there's pros and cons to different policy designs. And so that's why, again, I say there's no one silver bullet out there for just anybody. Everybody's different, their age, where they're at in life right now, what they're trying to accomplish, if it's paying off debt, if they're investing, if they're trying to use this vehicle for retirement or funding for their kids' college education. Doesn't matter what it is. People are just at different points in their life, and they have different goals and problems that they're trying to solve. And each policy is tailored to that specific person. I mean, for me, my first ever policy, I had a little bit of arrival syndrome, actually, now that I think about it and I kind of look back. But when I was 18, dad designed my first policy, and it was 60 base, 40 paid up editions. And I got a little grumpy with him. I'm like, Dad, why would you design my policy like that? I wanted my cash value now. I have needs for my cash value. I need to go buy myself this new computer for school and work. Why did you design my policy that way? But now that I'm older, I'm so blessed and grateful that he designed the policy with more base than paid up editions on this specific policy, because now I know that this policy is just going to be more efficient in the later years. But the con to it is that in the earlier years, when more money was going towards the base and only 40% to the paid up editions, I didn't have as much cash value as I would have had if it was designed more 40 base, 60 paid up editions. But as I said, I understand now why dad did it that way, because I was 18 years old. Girl, you don't need all that cash right now. You need to look more long range. That's another rule of Nelson. And maybe I'll talk about that next week, is the 5 Nelson's rules. But one of his rules he talks about is think long range. And that is what dad was doing for me, is he was thinking well beyond me and long range into what I can use just in my entire lifetime with that policy, because it had a strong foundation to it. But given I wouldn't design somebody's policy. Like, I was just talking with a gentleman this week. He's 67 years old. I'm not going to design his policy 60 base, 40 PUA because he's 67. He's got need for that cash right now, and he doesn't have as long to live with this policy, say, as what I do, being at 26 years old now, right? So again, there's no one silver bullet out there. And if somebody's preaching to you, hey, 1090, 1090, 1090, that's all you need. Or if they're preaching to you, IUL, 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 and not whole life, IUL is so much better, you need to kind of think for yourself and question here. So don't hit the arrival syndrome. And here, actually, Dave said it best. Arrival syndrome hits so many and working on keeping myself in check. Good, Dave, good. So it is a hard thing. It's a daily thing that you got to overcome all the time and keep checking yourself. And also, if this is helpful, what I do is actually in my house, I have so many sticky notes all around my house. It's kind of chaotic, but I love my sticky notes because I'll look at them all the time, and I have sticky notes posted up of the 5 laws, the human behaviors that I gotta overcome, the T chart, right? We went over the T chart a few weeks back of the differences between commercial banks and mutually owned insurance companies, and when I just see that day after day, it starts to just get deeply ingrained into my thinking that I'm just subconsciously changing the way that I think. Because again, it's an ongoing process that you got to check yourself almost every single day with. And my fifth one, last and final human behavior that we got to overcome is use it or lose it. Use your banking system, okay? I know. And actually, what's kind of funny too is sometimes I'll get some emails from people that are like, Hannah, I started my policy about 2 years ago, and I don't feel like I'm using it to its maximum capacity. I've never taken out a loan. I've never had to use the money, and I just feel like I'm not using this thing how I should. But what we got to understand is that even if you have no use for your money is safe and it's still beating inflation by sitting in your policy. And if you have no use for the cash value at this time, it's okay to just have your money hang out and chill inside of your policy just for a little bit until you have an opportunity or an expense that comes up that you need the cash values for. So it's not bad that you're just having your money sit there in the policy. And let's say you're waiting a year, 2 years, even 3 years to use the cash value because right now you're just accumulating your wealth. You're keeping it stored somewhere that's protected, growing tax free. Like I said, it's still beating inflation by sitting in the policy. And then all you're doing is you're just waiting and hanging out until an opportunity presents itself that you can go and deploy the capital in that direction of what you're trying to do. So, what I truly mean by use it or lose it is I mean, don't just take your cash values out of your policy and then never have a system or process to pay yourself back, play honest banker, charge yourself that interest back to yourself. Because taking out policy loans is not going to grow your system, okay? What's really going to grow your system is taking out the policy loans and paying yourself back and charging yourself interest. What is truly called EVA, economic value added, economic, whatever you want to say. I always say economic, but economic value added. And what it means is that there's a cost to your capital. And as Nelson says, he says, guys, act like it. He literally says that in one of his videos. And because you need to treat your capital with respect because money is going to flow and grow to where it's respected to. And you need to treat your capital with that utmost respect and responsibility. There's a responsibility factor even here with this. I mean, there was a big story about the Bank of Midland, Texas. The Bank of Midland actually went belly up because all of the non-performing loans of that bank was from the head executives of that bank. They thought that they were above all the rules. They didn't have to pay back their loans because, well, why do I got to pay back my loan? I'm the head exec of this bank, and it doesn't really matter. I'm the one essentially in control here. But yeah, you're in control. You're the head honcho over there. But because of you and you performing in that manner, you're now teaching your staff, your people, to do the same thing with their loans, their money. So they're stealing from your bank. They're not paying themselves back. Thus, you're not paying yourselves back. And then when y'all got into a hard time, guess what? There's no money, no capital. And then what'd you guys have to do? You guys had to go bankrupt. So you need to really lead by the example, especially if you're the head of your household. That's one thing that my father and my mom did such a great job at, is leading by that example. Because first of all, if you lead by that example, the people who are within your organization, they're just going to do the same thing you do. You're setting the tone. And then on top of that, now you're not stealing from yourself, right? Because as I mentioned, the true power of this working ultimately is when you are paying yourself back and you are charging yourself that interest. And like I said on this episode, it's you against you. And who do you know better than you? I don't know. So you need to really work in alignment with yourself and just make sure that you do have those core principles labeled out. So use your personal monetary banking system, treat it with respect, and there is a cost to your capital. Use it or lose it. So, just a quick recap, okay? Number one, Parkinson's Law, once was a luxury, is now a necessity. Number two, Willie Sutton's Law, wherever wealth is accumulated, somebody's going to try and steal it. Again, that's why we like the policies, because, hey, tax-free growth on the money, government's completely out of my hair. Number three, the golden rule, the one who has the gold makes the rules. Number four, arrival syndrome. Never hit the arrival syndrome, because if you think you know everything there is to know on this planet, you might as well just rot and be dead. And then number five, use it or lose it. Treat your banking system with the respect that it deserves. And I'm telling you, it's going to truly support you there. You know what I just had? I just had an epiphany. You know the new children's book that Chris Noggle and I have together, The Companion? And you can go and get it at companionbook.com. Let me put a little link down here. Hold on. www.companionbook.com. Ad banner. All right, you can go and find the companion book there. But you know what I'm thinking about? Because this companion book really came because I did a podcast episode using analogies. And if y'all didn't know, I have a podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast, every Tuesday. New episodes go live, which, speaking of, y'all loved this week's episode. I'm very happy that I got a little vulnerable with y'all. A lot of y'all have been reaching out to me for that net worth statement that I use just in my own life. So go and listen to this past week's episode that launched on the 14th of this month. That was a really, really good episode. You can go find it on YouTube or go find it on any of your podcast platforms. I would recommend maybe watching it on YouTube just so you can see what I'm going through. But the companion and the little girl that go on the adventure, the little girl is literally, she's using her companion, but she's not treating it with respect. She's just taking and taking from it. And she's essentially violating the law, the use it or lose it, and treating her companion like it has respect and authority there. Because essentially, the analogy there with the companion is that the companion is your policy, it's your money. And if you just keep taking and taking and taking from that companion, it's not going to be there for you when you need it, when the dragons are coming in and you need the shelter, the food, the water, because you just kept taking and taking to go on all of these fun little adventures and you neglected it, and thus it's not there in times of total distress. And so I've thought about the other laws, like, when we were writing this book, but I never thought about the use it or lose it, the EVA, the economic value added. Kinda goofy of me now that I'm thinking about it, but that's kind of fun, right? Kind of in alignment with what we're talking about today. So, the Companion is a fun little book too. For all my VIP ticket holders in Denver, I gifted all of y'all a copy of The Companion. What was really cool is a lot of y'all are coming up to me and actually even wanting me to like sign off on the book. So that was so cool. It's just so cool. So I also today I've been wearing all of my Halloween merch and stuff. I love this time of year. I love Halloween. The back of it's pretty cool, but it's kind of chilly out here. I want to keep my jacket on right now. But I'm excited. I don't know what I'm gonna dress up as this Halloween season. Um, I'm gonna be going to a music festival later on this month in Florida, at Suwannee Music Park in Live Oak, Florida. So I'll be out there over Halloween. So that will be a lot of fun. I got like some, if I never know what I want to do for Halloween, I always default back. I got some like cute little onesies, like Halloween onesies, like the skeletons on it, just like the basic onesies like that. So maybe I might do something like that. But I want to know, I mean, what are y'all doing for Halloween and what are you guys dressing up as? So leave a comment down below. I love this time of year. And I mean, just right around the corner, we got Thanksgiving, then Christmas is coming up. Hey, speaking of Christmas, last year I did an episode on how I finance my Christmas purchases. So y'all should go and watch that on the Money Multiplier podcast. But other than that, I think that's really all my thoughts that I had here today. I just wanted to come with y'all with the human behaviors that we must overcome. Oh, that's sad. Here, I'm reading the comments now before I end this live stream. Rob is saying the video that I played in the beginning didn't have any audio. That sucks. Oh. Hey, okay, so Rob, here's what I'm gonna do. Let me I will post up the link for y'all to see it as well. Because as y'all know, I'm still trying to get accustomed to StreamYard. This is a new platform that I've been using. Okay. Wait a moment, then try again. Didn't post on Hannah Kessler, but on the Money Multiplier Facebook page and also the Money Multiplier YouTube, I posted in the comments. Okay, so there's the link to the audio file. Sorry about that, Rob. I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. But it's cool. It's got a cool beat behind it too. So Dave is asking, hey, what about a signed copy at the Orlando event? Absolutely, man. I'll bring some companion books out. Actually, yeah. So thanks for reminding me. So y'all, next week, I think it is. What is today? Today's the 16th. Let me go back to my calendar. Yeah. Hey, actually, literally a week from today, I'm going to be heading out to Orlando. There is an event. It's a multi-family event in Orlando, Alchemist Nation. Gwalter, some of y'all may be familiar with him. He's hosting this event. It's called the 100 Millionaire Summit. It's really a multi-family investing event. There's going to be more to it, but his whole niche is multifamily. So if that's something that interests y'all, you guys should come out. I got some tickets I'm going to be giving away. Okay. So if you send me an email, I'll make sure that I get y'all signed up for it. So Hannah at themoneymultiplier.com. That will be on Thursday and Friday next week in Orlando. And then I'm actually flying out Friday night. I'm going to be up in Indianapolis, and my physicians, my doctors, Dr. Kyle is going to be hosting an event called Legacy RX Conference. And Brent and myself, we're going to be out there teaching on infinite banking. But if you're a doctor, physician, and that's your world, I mean, because let's be real, I know this firsthand from my dad being a chiropractor. Yeah, y'all can make some good money, but you know what they don't teach you in chiropractic school or orthopedic surgeon school or whatever school? They don't teach y'all how to manage your money, okay? So that's what dad was doing. I mean, dad was a very successful chiropractor. I mean, he's making over $1 million a year, but who cares if you're making 1 million if your overhead's 975, you know? So we're gonna go up and teach these doctors how to keep more of their money. So that's gonna be on Saturday is when we'll be speaking up there in Indy. So if that interests you as well, send me an email, Hannah at the Money Multiplier, and I will get y'all registered for that event. But after that, so yeah, Orlando, Indianapolis. Then after that, I'm gonna head out to my music festival, hang out for the Halloween weekend because it's kind of fun actually. Halloween's falling on a Friday this year, so that's gonna be fun. But as I said, let me know what y'all are doing. Let me know what you guys are dressing up as. And as I read these comments, back to Thailand sounds amazing. Oh, Dave's thinking about going to Vietnam in March. Any tips to get first class cheaper? Hey, I'll tell you this. There's actually some vloggers that I follow on YouTube. They have a site called Daily Drop. So I want to say it's dailydrop.com, and they have a whole bunch of articles posted of how you can save money on flights, hotel. I haven't deeply explored it. I just know that they talk about it a lot when they're doing their promotions during their videos. But Daily Drop, that could be a good place to get some tips on how to save. I'll tell you, I mean, how I'm saving on airfare, hotels, and different things is I use my Delta credit card. I got an American credit card, and that's how I've been racking up these points. So I don't got to pay for the tickets. I'm just using my points every time I'm booking flights and even the hotels. So that's what I do just with my daily spending. I'm always putting it on those travel credit cards. So other than that, it's almost here to the top of the hour. It's about to be 8 a.m. here in Denver. I'm heading out today, so if I'm a little MIA today, just know I'm making my transition back home to Florida. And other than that, I'm going to be here next week. Okay, so every Thursday morning, I go live at 9 a.m. Eastern time for Money Mornings with Hannah. And then also the podcast show every Tuesday, a new one drops, the Money Multiplier podcast. And there's one more thing I want to tell you. Oh, to get notified, okay? So when I go live, follow me on all the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at Hannah Kessler, or even the Money Multiplier channels on Facebook and YouTube. And you can see these live streams as they go live every Thursday. So thank you, y'all, for another week, for being here, for showing up. And until next week, I'm going to catch all of y'all then. Be well, do good, be kind to one another as you go out and enjoy your day today. And happy Thursday, all of my Money Multiplier family. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Mwah. Until next week. Bye, y'all.